important right now is essential. Because when mainstream outlets move on, we stay. When the headlines ignore our communities, we don't. When decisions are being made that affect Black lives in our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, KBLA is in the room. This is more than radio. This is a lifeline, a record, a rallying cry. Black stories, black voices, black power. The heat is on the air and in the culture. KBLA Talk 1580. Stay connected, stay informed, stay loud. Stand up!
That's our reparations theme song around here. And it is a Freedman Friday on this 5th birthday of KBLA Talk 1580. We're being joined by an award-winning spoken word artist and activist. She won first place at the historic Apollo Theater, shared the stage with Hezekiah Walker, Patti LaBelle, Fantasia, and more, including Dick Gregory, to perform her piece called I Am Trayvon Martin. She's the founder of Justice for Bruce's Beach, and she's led a successful movement that made it possible for that stolen land to be returned to the descendants of the black landowners, Willa and Charles Bruce. The descendants of Bruce's Beach ownership sold that reclaimed LA County land for $20 million. Kavon Ward is her name. She was named 35th Senate District Woman of the Year for 2022 by Senator Stephen Bradford. Kavon Ward, welcome back.
Thank you, Dominique. It's so good to be back with you.
Great to have you on. It is the happy Juneteenth to you, by the way.
Happy Juneteenth.
What could be more fitting for Juneteenth than getting our land back? Black Landcestry is something that we'll talk more about, but you also are the founder and CEO of Where Is My Land, which is an organization focused on getting black land back all over the country. And when we talk about Juneteenth, I feel like reparations and land back really does need to be in the conversation, especially right now with what we see going on in this country.
Yeah, it does. And I think what folks should remember is that Juneteenth marks the 6-year anniversary of the Black Land Back movement. It is when I initially started the movement to help the Bruce family get their land back.
Oh, wow. That's fitting, too. Indeed, it is. And I'm thinking about, the president of the United States going after Evanston, where was the first, municipality to pay even a small amount of reparations in dollars, specifically targeting housing. And the president has now joined the Department of Justice under the guidance of the resident, has now joined this lawsuit to try to shut this down. He also made a statement at the UN against reparations and the United States, Israel, and Argentina opposed the UN resolution saying that slavery was the gravest crime against humanity and in support of reparations.
Yeah, none of that surprises me, and it's pretty ironic that he was able to find reparations dollars for the the
January
writers
6th, yeah.
that took over January 6th writers that took over the Capitol. So I mean, so he does believe in reparations, just not for Black people, and that doesn't surprise me at all.
Doesn't surprise you? Does it discourage you? Does it worry you?
It does not worry me. It does not discourage me. Even though some of his actions and threats was the reason why Where's My Land had to shut its doors down. Our funding was targeted last year, and as a result, we had to shut down. But what folks don't realize about me is that I might be down temporarily, but not for the long haul. It's things like that that inspire me to figure out creative ways to make the things happen that I know that the Most High has sent me to make happen. So at the end of the day, when I have the belief of the Most High and I understand that I'm called to this work, I know that ultimately there's going to be a way, and I'm going to figure that out. So President Trump and no one else discourages me.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I think a lot of people are, especially nonprofits, suffering similar fate because everything is now categorized as DEI and it's fake illegal. What I mean by that is it's not actually illegal, but because the president frowns on it and by executive order has said that it should not happen, corporations, foundations, and certainly government funding has recoiled from things that support Black people, women, and communities of color, because all of it is lumped together under D, E, and I, right?
Right. And that's why this is nothing new, right? We've always been targeted. Our work has always been targeted. Our Black-led organizations have always been targeted. And this is why I would say it's so important for our people to support these causes. When you think about Where's My Land, we just did not have enough support. The most money we ever raised within the 4-year, 5-year span of existing was just about $1 million. When you think about right-wing organizations that get started, they have millions of dollars being poured into it. So I think what the issue is, we can't rely on philanthropy, even though they claim to be progressive. We can't rely on anyone but ourselves to ensure that we are supporting financially the work that gets done. Because if not, you see organizations like Where's My Land that had an amazing Black print and an amazing infrastructure just be shut down. And the irony of it is, too, at the end, there was one particular philanthropic organization that had been promising us a couple of $100,000. And we waited and waited and waited to get that money. And then ultimately, for whatever reason, maybe it was lack of courage, maybe there was a lot of pressure applied by the administration, and maybe they were under investigation for supporting causes like ours. But what they ended up doing was providing half of that money that they had committed to offer us to help us shut down the organization.
Wow, that's sad.
So none of this is surprising. It's extremely disappointing because you have folks performing as if they support these things when it's popular, right? But then when the pressure is applied to them to keep going, then they just give up. So there's a lack of courage in the reparation space as it relates to philanthropy. And there's just, when I think about Bruce's Beach and the fact that that family sold that land, although I did not approve of it, I fought for them for that long to make it happen, to get them to the negotiation table, and they promised $1 million, and they did not. They reneged on that promise. They did not give it. You know what I'm saying? So I think when we think about organizations, Black-led organizations being sustainable, we have to look at ourselves and figure out how we can do better. Because not only did philanthropy fail Where's My Land, but our people failed us as well.
When you say philanthropy, you're talking foundations and stuff like that. Have you gotten any direct feedback that's saying we don't support reparations, or is it more of just a vibe? Have you seen a recoiling where there was support before?
I saw specifically as it relates to Where Is My Land, I saw that we had a fiscal sponsor, for example, who decided to take us on because they believed in me. They believed in the work that I did around policy that was able to get the land back to the Bruces. They brought us on as a result of the policy work we did. And then suddenly they're being investigated by the DOJ, and we're told that they can no longer be our fiscal sponsors because of the SB 1050 policy that we pushed forward with Senator Bradford. But you brought me on and you supported me because of that, and now you're saying you can't support me because of policy work. So, I mean, that, and then, folks saying that they are pulling back dollars from organizations like Where's My Land because smaller or not as visible organizations, Black-led organizations, reparations organizations were not being funded. So they had to spread the funding. You know what I'm saying? So it does have an impact. The fact that we were labeled as, terrorist organizations has an impact. So when the president targets a specific cause or specific people, then you have support dying because they don't want to lose whatever it is that they have.
Right.
I've seen it.
Right. And folks don't want to be targeted by the Department of Justice. And the president has made it clear that he is and he will target those he deems terrorists, which is pretty much any organization that has Black in the title or any reparations in the mission. Kavon Ward is our guest, so we want to talk when we come forward about a new project she is launching, or at least new to us, probably not new to her, Black Landscestry. That is a platform we'll hear more about. It's launching today. And let us tell you all about it. Happy Juneteenth from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations, come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we still going up. Built it from the ground, now the real knowing us. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Tell me smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy birthday to KBLA.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-242-1551. That's 800-242-1551. 800-242-1551.
Are you ready to play? Jump into sports, games, and excitement for all ages at the LA 84 Foundation Free Play Day Block Party with music, art, local food, dancing, and giveaways. It's Saturday, June 27th at 2141 West Adams from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Register at la84.org. We'll see you at Play Day.
Unapologetically progressive.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. We don't tell you what to think, just what to think about.
Are you ready to play? Jump into sports, games, and excitement for all ages at the LA84 Foundation free Play Day Block Party with music, art, local food, dancing, and giveaways. It's Saturday, June 27th at 2141 West Adams from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Register at la84.org. We'll see you at Play Day.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
Yes, indeed. We are talking with Kavon Ward. We're talking reparations. And, well, let's just go basic. Kavon, what is Black Landscestry? What is blacklandcestry.com?
Yeah, Black Landscestry is an app that I developed to help aid Black people get their land back. And so what it does is it connects professionals like attorneys, researchers, writers, social media influencers, anybody that is necessary, that I saw was necessary to help with the successful campaign for a family to get to the negotiation table and perhaps get reparations or through compensation or land back. So it connects those professionals and it connects justice seekers who are looking to reclaim their land. So it provides professionals who are out of work. We know a lot of folks are losing their jobs these days, especially Black folks. So it gives them an opportunity to put their profile up and say, I'm available for services. This is how I can help, to be hired and to do some meaningful work.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I know that after the Bruce's Beach success, that victory, that you were flooded with people from all over the country who had stories about how somewhere in their family history land was stolen. Talk to me about that.
Right, and it was the reason why I started Where's My Land, because I was just like, wow, this is more widespread than I thought. In the beginning of the 19th century, Black people owned about 15 million acres of land. But by the end of, not 19th century, the 20th century, by the end of the 20th century, 90% of that land was gone. And I was like, something has to change, right? Like, how first of all, how do we repair the harm that was done? And then how do we stop it from continuing, right? And so I just used the steps that I did with the Bruces to help more families. And we started mainly in California because we had a precedent there with the Bruces, and also because most of our philanthropic dollars came from California. And so in the midst of doing the work, while we had close to 1,000 claims, 1,000 people waiting in the pipeline for help, because of a lack of resources, we were only able to get to about 100 families and help them in some capacity. Right, but the successes we had were with the Section 14 survivors.
Okay, you want to talk about that? Kavon, are you there? Oh, there she is.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, while the outcomes of those cases were somewhat disappointing, I saw and I learned that, wow, the work that we're doing is meaningful and it works, right? Like, we were able to create a plan, a black print that would allow for us to get to the point where the families are at the table having these negotiations. Now, what happens after that, is on the families and their legal representation.
Right. But of course, you're talking about the people in Palm Springs, and those folks that, as far as I know, didn't even own the land. They were renters or leasers that were living in the center of Palm Springs who were pushed out because of racism, because of the whitening of Palm Springs, pushed out to suburbs. And they did win. I mean, I don't know what they got, but they did win, right?
Yeah, it depends on how you define winning. And I just want to make it very clear that a lot of them owned the homes on that land, and they had leases on the land.
In other
any
words,
case,
they built
it
homes
was
on
not-
land
in
that they
any
didn't
case-
own?
Correct, but they had the leases for the land, and those leases.
I see.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, in any case, the outcome was not what the group of folks wanted it to be or expected it to be, and it was not. It just wasn't. It wasn't what I would consider a success.
So what does that leave them? I mean, I know that a lot of people.
I think there's a disconnect. I think there is, when we start these advocacy campaigns and we put the information, there's a lot of courage. There's a lot of faith. There is a lot of evidence to prove that, there could be some good repair. And then, like with the Ebony Beach Club case, there were conversations about millions of dollars perhaps being given to the White family as a result of the land stolen in Santa Monica.
The family of Silas White, not a white family, in case you're not following the case. The Silas White family. There was this huge successful campaign for almost 4 years. There was success within, the city council and them voting unanimously to get to the table, right? So we had done the work. It was fine. And then suddenly, lawyers get involved. They're at the negotiation table. The advocates are pushed out of the way, and they settle for something like $350,000. Right. My understanding of that case was that they were, if a reparations fund were to be created, they would still be eligible to get more. But that seems highly unlikely given that Santa Monica disbanded their reparations commission like 2 weeks after they seated it.
Right. So my point is, folks perform and they say, "Oh, this is what we'll give you these crumbs for now, and then we'll do better later," and then they don't do better later. So I don't know. I just think there's.
I mean, you've been on the front lines. Clearly, you're frustrated here, but also she has $350,000 that she never would have had, right? That their family never would. I mean, I'm not saying that's enough or that it's a total victory, but it is something for the suffering of her father, right?
Yeah, and that's what they say. At least you're getting something, right? Here, take these crumbs. At least you're getting something.
Well, it's not just what they say. It's a fact. I mean, it is a fact.
No, but that's what. But yeah, it is a fact. But that's also what they say. Take this, or get nothing, and at least you're getting something.
Right.
And I'm tired of us settling for just crumbs or something just to say we got something. It's not enough. It's not enough. Not compared to the harm that they've inflicted on us in our communities, not compared to the loss. It is not enough. And I'm going to stand 10 toes down on that no matter what anyone says.
Now, I know that you, and I want to make sure we really delve into the app, and we will because we have time here. But I know that you and others were disappointed in the Bruce family selling Bruce's Beach for $20 million. Again, it's $20 million they didn't have, and you can say, well, it's not enough, or it would continue to appreciate. It could have been 40, 50, 100 million if they would hold on. But it's $20 million worth of wealth that family would never have had if it wasn't for the work, right?
I think positionality is important here. I think when it's someone who put their all in their blood, sweat, and tears and was on the front line for these causes, I think that how I see it will be differently from the layperson who was not in it and did not have boots on the ground doing this work. Because I know that I speak with who have helped with these movements, they feel the same way I feel. It's a different perspective you have when you're in the fight.
So what is that perspective? I mean, the thing is to actually, maintain that land and everything is costly, right?
Dominique,
right? Yeah.
No, that perspective is if you're going to provide true repair, the repair is what the folks who have been harmed says the repair is, not what you think it is as a person who injured.
Yeah, folks. Fair enough.
So that's what I'm saying.
But in this case,
all of these situations.
But in this case, they actually got the land back, right? And then chose to sell it.
They got the land back and they sold it.
Right.
Yeah, they chose to sell it. But my issue is with the amount they chose to sell it for. First, my first issue is with the fact that they sold it. My second issue is with the fact that the amount that they sold it for, the amount they sold it for. And I get to have those feelings because, again,
Of
I was
course.
the one who started the movement and got them to the negotiation
Well,
table.
anybody can have whatever
Way
feelings
I
they
see
want.
it, but,
Yeah,
right.
go ahead.
But like I said, positionality is important here.
Right. Again, what you said the amount. What would you have liked them to have sold it for?
I would not have liked for them to sell it at all. But if they were going to sell it, they should have sold it for the amount that I know they wanted for it. Okay? And I'm not going to get into those details, but I know they settled. That's why it's called a settlement. They settled. And again, my definition of success is folks, if they're going to provide repair, folks should not have to be asked to settle for something because that is for the injuring party. The folks who were harmed should dictate the terms of what that.
We're talking with Kavon Ward. She's got a new app, Landcestry.com, and we'll learn more about that, how it works, how you can access it. When we come forward, we've got news, traffic, and sports right here. Of course, for those of you just joining, she was instrumental in the Bruce family getting their land back. So obviously she's going to have strong opinions about that. But many people do who, as you point out, were not so involved. It's important, though, that we understand what's happening so that we can continue to push the line on progress on the topic of reparations. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
You can't fix what you won't face, and we face it every day. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Tammy Eswick with BIN News Now. A deadly crash with a Central Park horse carriage ride has led to authorities shutting down the popular rides altogether. Police say a horse got spooked Wednesday and bolted, and an 18-year-old ended up dying in the accident.
Our move into the park has changed the way that we work, and there's no place for us to tie up our horses anymore.
Well, some people in LA are being told to shelter in place after a massive warehouse fire Wednesday. Well, that fire raging again. Black British actor David Oyelowo is facing backlash after comments he made on a podcast with comedian Godfrey, where he was talking about how he made his British accent sound more black and southern. He said to take the Nigerian accent, slow it down, put a lot of slavery in there, and start to put a bit of subservience in it. Comedian Godfrey also under fire for not checking him on the spot. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Struggle with weight loss? OrderlyMeds.com/radio offers doctor-guided access to options like semaglutide and tirzepatide, often up to 50% less, delivered to your home. Visit OrderlyMeds.com/radio. Individual results may vary. Eligibility required. See site for details.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers have the best record in Major League Baseball after a 3-game sweep over Tampa Bay. The sweep put the Dodgers at 48-27. They have a 9-game lead over San Diego in the NL West. The Dodgers are off today. They start a 3-game series at home Friday night against Baltimore. The first round of the World Cup is generating high TV ratings for Fox Sports and Telemundo, the primary broadcast partners for the World Cup. An average of 6 million viewers tuned into Fox Sports for each of the first 16 group matches. That's a 128% increase from first-round matches for the World Cup in 2022. An average of 7.5 million people watch first-round matches on Telemundo, the Spanish-language network based in Miami. The 7.5 million is a 234% increase from 2022. 18 million viewers on Fox Sports watched the U.S. beat Paraguay last Friday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hello, family. I'm Dr. Paul Wallace inviting you to our annual Set Yourself Free Juneteenth open house at Wallace Skin and Body. Join me this Saturday, June 20th from noon to 4 p.m. Say goodbye to double chins and sagging skin. Say hello to instantaneous skin tightening without surgery by Zerf. Speaking of tightening, it's not too late to work on that body and feel the real you with Body Shaping by M-Sculpt Neo. It's time to reclaim and regrow those lost edges or increase your hair density naturally with U-Secretome stem cell technology. It's 34 times more potent than PRP. We'll demo lasers for black skin, raffle AI skin mapping every hour, and offer 50% off all products. Call 323-296-3376. That's 323-296-3376 to reserve your spot. I look forward to seeing you, and remember, looks count.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. In my prior commentary about Destination Crenshaw, or Procrastination Crenshaw as we call it around here, I opine that sometimes neglect becomes a decision. I want to challenge my own neglect becomes a decision thesis in just a moment. This $100 million revitalization project was supposed to transform 1.3 miles of Crenshaw Boulevard into a world-class celebration of black art and culture. It was first promised to open in 2023, then 2024, and here we are, still waiting, still suffering. The businesses along this corridor, black-owned businesses, are suffocating. Construction chaos everywhere, shuttered storefronts, a community being bled dry by broken promises. So, I stand by my earlier formulation that neglect becomes a decision. But as I have thought more about the gross negligence, the incompetence on steroids, it occurs to me that sometimes neglect isn't just a decision. Neglect is the default position of some black electeds. Not all, but some. They just don't believe that black folk deserve the very best. They don't believe that we deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So, we go from being constituents on the campaign trail to collateral once they're sworn into office. And when, for example, one is termed out of office and can't run again, but is still clutching the gavel of power, one thinks that he can stay comfortably above the fray while we anguish for years on end. The apparent attitude is, I'll just leave this mess for the next person to clean up. That's what it feels like, Mr. President, Mr. LA City Council President. But it's not just him, it's the local media too, black and white, corporate and independent. Look at how little has been said about this never-ending nightmare in Crenshaw, year after year after year. Nobody at City Hall and nobody who's supposed to be holding City Hall accountable seems to care one bit about the safety and security of Crenshaw residents and the black business owners who are slowly being strangled. Don't be fooled. This isn't just a construction delay. This is what disrespect looks like with a budget attached. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
It is a Freedman Friday. It's Juneteenth, and we're talking with the CEO of Where Is My Land, an organization. Will you stand it up again, Kavon Ward? She was instrumental in getting the land back to the Bruce family, the descendants of Bruce and of the Bruces, Willa and Charles Bruce, and has a new app to help get land back. What will Where Is My Land stand again?
I think the work that we are doing and the black print I created is something that this app will support. I don't think Where Is My Land will stand again. I think we've transitioned into the app because the app allows for people's needs to get met quicker. And when I came up and thought of Black Landscestry, it was during my time of Where's My Land, because I saw that, okay, the funds are not going to come in for us to scale up and hire as many people as we need. I need to create an app that will support the team that I have to get through these cases quicker. And so initially it was designed to support my team. But when Where's My Land closed and shut its doors, I said, I've got to figure out a way to make this happen. And then it was when I was healing. I had to have a surgery, and I was healing, and I had to sit down and just focus on, myself. It was when the vision came to me, and then it was like, aha, this app is a connector. It is like the Uber for reparations, for land reparations. and that, with Uber, you need a ride, you go into the app, you book a ride, you make your destination, you pay for it, right? And so that's essentially what happens with this app, with Black Landscestry. An individual needs legal support, or an individual needs a writer or a researcher. They need an advocate to create a advocacy strategy to determine, what steps they need next. They go onto the app. There's a bunch of profiles. They choose the one that works for them. They hire that individual, and the work is done. So it's not on a case-by-case basis, because that is all it has the capacity to do, right? Like with Where's My Land, it is everyone can go on and get the help that they need when they need it, and we are just here to help and support them in that.
Right, and they're the ones that pick out of all the resources that you offer, which allows them to customize their own needs. This is specifically geared toward families and individuals that think that they have a family history of stolen land or stolen resources.
Yes, specifically for Black folk who believe that they had their land stolen, who have some documentation but need to do further research and need support with that research, or who have done the research, who have created their research summaries and timelines and is ready to submit that to an attorney. They go there and find an attorney, or someone who needs, a media campaign done and needs a digital amplification. They can hire someone to do that. So it's based on the need.
And so
and the families get to decide what that need is, yeah.
So how would we find this app?
So right now we're fine-tuning and making some final improvements. But for professionals, the app will be available by July 1st. And for justice seekers, it'll be ready by July 21st. But folks can go to www.blacklandsestry.com to join the wait list and to get updates on when things are available.
Black Landscestry, I love the name. I remember you came on the show and you said you had at least close to 1,000 people flooding you with requests after the victory at Bruce's Beach, which to me says there are probably way more than that. People that don't even know about what happened here in LA County, people that are afraid or just don't feel motivated. And you outlined the scope, the acreage, right, that we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. But how do we know when it's a legit, something worth pursuing, as opposed to family mythology or something that's not actionable?
I think there's a document review that needs to be done. At least when that's what we were doing with Where's My Land. We were looking at the documents to see if there was any legitimacy, and if there was something there but not enough, then we would delve deeper. And that's why folks need to have documentation. They also need to do the research necessary to put together a clear and concise research summary and timeline, so that an attorney, or an advocate or a social media campaign is successful, right? Yeah. You don't want to be reporting out on lies. And so I think it is determined by what they have, what they can get, because oftentimes a lot of the documents they need are being hidden from them, or they're no longer available because things have been burnt down, right? There is an intention to hide the truth from these people. And so it really just does depend on the professionals they hire and whether or not they have the skill set necessary to dig deep and to find whatever it is they need to find.
When you say that they're being hidden from them, I mean, can you give me an example, how these documents or these receipts get buried, get hidden?
I know that there have been some folks who have gone to, like, look for public documentation. Specifically, I remember when we were in Chicago helping the Lorraine Hansberry's family, and I remember that they went to get public documentation, and initially it was shown that the documentation was there, but then when they went, it was nowhere to be found. And then they were asked to be escorted out. There were folks who worked at the public, the place where they went to find these documents. There were folks who kept asking them, what are you looking for? How can I help? As if they were trying to ensure that they would not be able to access what they needed access to. And then they ultimately were asked to leave.
Wow.
So I think that when the media gets involved, this is why the media is so important for these campaigns, because when the media gets involved and, there's true investigative journalism done, and, some of what was hidden has come to light, I think it puts pressure on these individuals. And then even within Santa Monica, we saw that the historical, the museum had documentation available, and then it was no longer available. They had proof that said that Silas White owned the land, and then suddenly we couldn't find that information. So when the media gets a hold of this stuff and it becomes publicized and there's a lot of pressure applied, then suddenly it's not there. You go online, you do a search, and the documents are not there anymore. I've seen that so many times.
That's good to know, too, if you're researching something. If you get access to those documents once, it sounds like
you can't,
you better find a way to document it, take a picture or something, because it may disappear. That's crazy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying exposure does a number, and when folks are exposed and when proof it hits the light, you see that there is a conscious effort to hide things, and that, in my opinion, shows that they had even more than what we thought they had.
Yeah.
And they know that that this family should get some type of repair, because why would they work so hard to hide things?
Yogi Fish says, where are the black political leaders who get paid and elected to do this?
Yeah, where are they?
That's from the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
I mean,
where are they?
I mean, it's a fair question. I don't, I know that their job description doesn't specifically say reparations, but we're talking about representing the interests of your constituents. I know that, you were a CBC fellow and you received an award from Senator Bradford. So there must be some people. I know that,
there are.
Holly Mitchell, Supervisor Holly Mitchell, Supervisor Janice Hahn worked on the Bruce's Beach piece, and the governor signed it.
Right. And you have exceptions and anomalies like that. When I think about Senator Bradford, I think about how he pushed forward 3 reparations bills. One being SB 1050, which is what we helped him, craft language around that would allow for not only there to be financial compensation for stolen land, but land back and the removal of the statute of limitation. And we were successful alongside him getting that passed in the Assembly, and then also getting it passed in the Senate. And it was signed. It had hit the floor. It was signed, and then it reached Governor Newsom's desk and was vetoed. Yeah. So when I say where are the politicians, I mean things like that. It's like, here we are with one successful bill that actually made it of the 3, and then you have our governor veto it. So I'm wondering, like, what's going on? What's happening? I don't know what's happening politically. I have a feeling, but I don't know. And I would encourage politicians like Senator Bradford to keep going, because he did some amazing things. It was an honor and a privilege to work alongside him in getting a lot of this reparation stuff done in California. But the governor was a disappointment around it.
Well, yeah. To me, the governor signed Dr. Weber's original reparations
Right.
task force bill, and then he vetoed that one, and he vetoed a bunch of other ones this last session. So clearly he's backed off of it. To me, it's obvious he wants to be
Right.
president, and politicians think that reparations is toxic when it comes to mass appeal, so they tend to back off of it, just like Wes Moore did in Baltimore, in my opinion.
Right.
That's
Yep.
my opinion. You can
I agree.
have a different
I agree.
one.
No, I agree.
But the thing
I
is that, Bradford just ran for insurance commissioner. He didn't win, but I didn't even realize that Senator Tom Hayden had passed in California a registry where insurance companies are supposed to state how much and in what ways they profited by the enslavement of our ancestors. And that is still on the books and sitting there, and no one's enforcing it until we get a reparations commissioner or a governor that's willing to do that. That was something that was passed long before this latest round of reparations activism. But to your point, no one follows up on it.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I mean when I say folks are performing. They're performing. You signed Shirley Weber's bill, and you made it seem as if you were for this because it got you where you needed to be, and now it doesn't serve you to follow it through. So we need real ones. We need real politicians, real folks who are going to stand 10 toes down on this reparation stuff. And I know it's easier said than done because, folks got to play the political game. But when I think about what is needed, that is what we need. How we get there, I don't know. And that's why I can't stand politics.
BlackLandscestry.com. You can go to the website. BlackLandscestry.com is the website. You can sign up for updates to get the app as soon as it's available, which is next month. Kavon Ward is the creator of said app, and we will continue this conversation when we come forward. It's a Freedman Friday on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Gas prices got you down. LADWP customers get a rebate of up to $4,000 when you buy a used electric or plug-in hybrid vehicle. Installing an EV charger at your home? Get a rebate for that too, up to $1,500. Visit ladwp.com/EV today and start saving. That's ladwp.com/EV.
If you're an African American mom who is pregnant or have a baby under 6 months old, you deserve care that lifts, listens, and lasts. Black Infant Health is for you. It's a free program with individual support, group sessions, and resources to start your mothering journey. BIH makes space for moms and their families to create community. Learn more about the programs in Los Angeles County. Check us out at blackinfanthealth.org.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Congratulations, Kavon Ward, on the launch of your new app, Landscestry.com. What about people that want to be referred through this app, whether they be attorneys or social media managers or all of the different kinds of service providers that you are connecting people with?
You mean, I'm not understanding how they would be referred?
Well, I'm saying if I want to be on the app as a research assistant, a historical documentarian, an expert of some kind, how would I apply, or do you just choose people to...
Oh, no, I don't choose anyone. Folks will download the app. They will put their profile up. They will add their resume or add their portfolio of work. And then the families who are looking for the help will choose. The people, the individuals who need assistance will choose.
Right. I didn't mean like you would choose which the families would use. What I meant is choose who is on the app. But it sounds like it's more open, where if you want to be a resource, you can actually get connected yourself.
Yes. Yep. I don't choose anyone to be on the app. It's open. It's free to download. If folks pay you, then you get paid for it. Pay for that, and there's a platform fee for both the families and a minimal one. I understand that folks are struggling right now.
Okay, so this is, as you said, it's going live in July. Probably being beta tested right now. I hear the frustration in your voice, and we talked about Palm Springs and Bruce's Beach and the Ebony Beach Club. A lot of us heard, like, for example, Palm Springs paid $5.9 million. That sounded like a win. Clearly sounds like you don't think so.
But how many families? $5.5 million shared amongst how many people?
Yeah. So what is again, I'm saying you have your app. You clearly have some frustration here. What do you see as the way forward for reparations with these kinds of setbacks?
I think a way forward is to keep. I think that.
Or your phone is breaking up a little bit, or actually kind of a lot. Hopefully we can move a little bit so we can hear what you're saying, because I know that people got frustrated with what happened with the California Legislative Black Caucus, some of the other setbacks that you've talked about with the governor vetoing things. So, and now the attacks in Evanston, the attacks from the president. I'm concerned that there can be, discouragement and disillusionment. So I'm just really wanting to hear, and yet you're still going with this app and such. So I'm really wanting to hear from you what you think the way forward is here.
I think the way forward is not being discouraged, and it's easier said than done. I think faith over fear is important. I think allowing yourself to be afraid, because that's necessary, that's possible, but then fighting the fear to keep going. I mean, think about it. There's a lot that's happened to Black people in this country, and there have been some improvements made, right? So it's not impossible. So I move forward believing that what is needed for us to be liberated and to move forward is possible. I can't afford to be discouraged. I can't. I know what I'm called in this world to do, and I have to do it. I'm just going to say, I'm scared and I'm discouraged and nothing's happened, so therefore I'm going to stop. How is that going to help? You keep pushing forward with the hope and with the faith that things will change, because if not, you sit there and do nothing and let it keep happening to you. How do we stop fighting for what's right? I don't have that mindset. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell a person who is discouraged and wants to give up, because I move forward with faith over fear when I'm discouraged and want to give up. I'll allow myself to have those moments, but then I get back on a horse, because that's who I am. And we need more people like that if we're going to see some true change. And I know there's a lot of people within the reparations space who are that way, who are making the impossible happen with little to no support and resources. We need more folks like that. And we need our people to start supporting us more. We have all these people who need help, who come to us for help, but then we don't have that same amount of support in our community.
Yeah.
So I think that the desire for the change needs to be bigger amongst us. I think folks are just saying, well, these people are handling it. We're going to let them handle it. I'm just trying to focus on myself. I'm trying to make sure I survive. And I get that. But right now we can't afford to be of the individual mindset. We have to be of the collective mindset. That's the only way it's going to happen. Those right-wingers are of a collective mindset. And they are getting what they want right now.
They're collectively gouging. Yeah, understood. Clearly that unity and solidarity is going to be a key piece. Landscestry.com is where folks can sign up for updates from you for the app. Is there any other contact or socials you would like to share with us?
Yeah, we're just Black Landscestry on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and blacklandscestry.com.
Kavon Ward, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Reparations, there's an app for that. We're going to be hearing from Martin Ludlow, former city council member, former head of the LA Federation of Labor. He is the visionary behind the brand new LA Jazz Festival. More straight ahead, only right here.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tammy Eswick with BIN News Now. A deadly crash with a Central Park horse carriage ride has led to authorities shutting down the popular rides altogether. Police say a horse got spooked Wednesday and bolted, and an 18-year-old ended up dying in the accident.
Our move into the park has changed the way that we work, and there's no place for us to tie up our horses